Kyiv is our time, and the main news at this hour will be brought to you by me, Natalia Sopitz. Hello. The number of dead and injured in Kyiv is rising as a result of the massive Russian attack. As of now, 14 people are known to have died. Among them are 3 children. The youngest child was just 2 years old, according to Ukraine's Ministry of Internal Affairs. The number of injured is also increasing. It has already approached 40. Rescue workers continue searching for people and clearing debris at several locations in 3 districts of the Ukrainian capital, Shevchenkivsky, Desnyansky, and Darnitsky. City authorities have officially reported that there may be around 100 significantly damaged sites located throughout the entire city of Kyiv. In the Darnitsky district of the capital, where an entire section of a residential building has been destroyed, our correspondent Yulia Granovskaya is still on the scene. She is back in touch with us now. Yulia, can you tell us what information you have at this moment?
We are continuing to work at the site in the Darnitsky district, where a 5-story building was destroyed. As of this moment, it is known that 14 people have died. 13 of them, unfortunately, died in this apartment building you see behind me. Of the 13 who died, 3 were children. The youngest child was only 2 years old. Right now, the debris is still being cleared. You can see behind me. I'll ask the cameraman to show how the rescuers are working. According to preliminary information, 2 rockets hit here. One of them, one strike, hit the building directly. The other strike landed next to the building. For more details about this missile strike on the 5-story building, let's listen to the Interior Minister's statement.
At the moment, we can say that a missile strike was carried out. 2 rockets hit, one next to this building and one directly into it. Judging by the number of damaged cars nearby, we can say these were cluster munitions.
The work is ongoing. The people who lived, and still live, in this building, as well as those from neighboring buildings, are watching the rescuers do their job and are hoping that there won't be any more casualties. However, we know that, according to preliminary information, 10 people are still listed as missing. Let's listen in more detail to how the residents of the 5-story building survived the missile strike by the Russian Federation.
Darkness, a rumble. I started shouting to my wife Alla, "Are you alive?" Together, we tried to get out through the middle stairwell, where part of the building had been destroyed. There was a woman screaming, "Take the children." We took 2 small children, started climbing over our stairwell, and it seemed like there was another strike. We fell down, hugged the children, then went downstairs and ran to the car.
Around 3 in the morning, there were very powerful explosions. We were sleeping, quickly got up and ran to the basement. Everything is very well set up down there. We stayed there for about 40 minutes. Then at some point, we even thought about going back. And then there was another powerful explosion. The wiring caught fire, and water started running from somewhere. Everything was covered in dust and debris. We rushed to the exit to get out of that basement. There were a lot of people with us. We all held hands, and just as we were near the doors, there was another explosion. We thought the entrance would be blocked now, but thank God we found an opening we could get through.
The main strikes hit 23 locations in 8 districts of Kyiv. I want to point out that unfortunately, this is not the only apartment building or residential house that was hit by shrapnel or took a direct hit. Other homes and office buildings were also damaged. We know that a shopping center in downtown Kyiv was damaged, as well as cars and the British Council office in Kyiv, as stated by Ukraine's Minister of Foreign Affairs. I want to note that even the people who live in this apartment building and survived this horror and nightmare that lasted almost the entire night are calling on our Western partners to strengthen their support for Kyiv. After all, no one wants to go through what every Ukrainian is having to endure today. Let's listen.
Don't just express your concern to us. Help us instead, if you don't want the same grief and destruction to come to your country. I'm sure that only the Ukrainian people, only Ukrainians can stand strong. I don't mean to offend anyone, but Western countries aren't ready for something like this. Russia will only understand strength. No negotiations, in my opinion, will lead to anything.
I want to note that for the response, 500 rescuers and more than 1,000 police officers were involved, and aircraft were also used to extinguish the fires. Right now, at many locations, the work is already finished, but here they're still clearing the debris. We know that the firefighters have already left. People are being given all the necessary assistance, especially psychological help first and foremost. They are also collecting people's information and documenting the damaged property. I want to note that tomorrow in Kyiv will be declared a day of mourning for those who died. Let me remind you, the Russian Federation carried out a massive combined missile strike on Ukraine, with the main blow hitting Kyiv. The air raid siren sounded for more than 11 hours. The missile strike lasted about 4 hours. The aggressor country used aeroballistic, ballistic, cruise missiles, and drones. Colleagues, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Yulia, for being there. We were joined by correspondent Yulia Granowska. She told us about the aftermath of the massive Russian attack on the capital of Ukraine. The missiles and drones that Russia used to strike Ukraine last night are a clear response to everyone who called for a ceasefire and real diplomacy. This was stated by President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. He was responding to yet another massive Russian attack. The Kremlin chooses ballistics over the negotiating table, and Moscow's choice remains murder and war, emphasized the head of the Ukrainian state. Russia continues to take advantage of the fact that part of the world turns a blind eye to the killing of children and looks for excuses for Putin, Volodymyr Zelenskyy stressed, and he called for increased pressure on the Russian Federation.
We are awaiting China's response to what is happening. Beijing has repeatedly called for the war not to be expanded and for a ceasefire. This is not happening because of Russia. We are awaiting Hungary's response. The death of children, without a doubt, should stir more emotion than anything else. We are awaiting the response of everyone on the planet who has called for peace, but now remains silent more often than taking a principled stand. And it is definitely time for new tough sanctions against Russia for everything it is doing. All the deadlines have already been missed. Dozens of diplomatic opportunities have been lost. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, President of Ukraine, on Telegram.
The head of European Union diplomacy, Kaja Kallas, demanded that Russia stop the killings and negotiate for peace. She stated this on social network X after yet another Russian attack on Ukraine. Kallas emphasized, while the world is searching for ways to end the war, Russia responds with missiles.
The nighttime attack on Kyiv demonstrates a deliberate choice to escalate the conflict and disregard peace efforts. Russia must stop the killings and start negotiations. Kaja Kallas, head of European Union diplomacy, on social network X.
As a result of Russia's attack on Kyiv last night, the British Council office was damaged. The destruction is significant, so the office has been closed. This was reported by Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha. According to him, Russia targeted diplomats, which is a direct violation of the Vienna Convention. This requires condemnation not only from the EU, but from the entire world, the minister emphasized. In addition, he called for tougher sanctions against Russia.
This is a residential building in Kyiv, destroyed by Russia. There may still be people trapped under the rubble. This horrifying sight proves that Putin will only stop under pressure and through force. We call on the public to condemn and take action, to impose new sanctions against Russia, and to strengthen Ukraine. Andriy Sybiha, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, on social network X.
Russia deliberately damaged the building of the European Union delegation, which supports Ukraine in its war against the aggressor. This was stated by the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa, on social network X. According to him, the EU cannot be intimidated by such actions, and Russian aggression only strengthens the European Union's resolve to support Ukraine and its people. However, Costa said he was shocked by yet another night of brutal Russian strikes on Ukraine.
My thoughts are with the Ukrainian victims, as well as with the staff of the EU delegation in Ukraine, whose building was damaged as a result of this deliberate Russian strike. Antonio Costa, President of the European Council, on social network X.